Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of One Piece a Day. For those that are unfamiliar with what this series is about, basically I put a challenge to myself to catch up to One Piece in the most confusing way possible, or at least the most time-consuming way possible that I could think of, while also still being realistic. Which basically means I will be reading one chapter of One Piece a day until I catch up to where the manga is currently, or well, where the manga will be by the time I catch up. And I did this whole thing as a sort of way to catch up on what I was missing, because I did watch a lot of the One Piece 4Kids dub a long time ago, and I did absorb some of that, and it didn't really strike me as that impressive of a series. But like there were some things that stuck with me, like the One Piece rap, and Zoro's name being Zolo and things like that, and a few plot points here or there, but I didn't think it was like that great of a franchise. But after years and years and years, after seeing everyone constantly praise the series, I thought that I was actually missing out on something, and that 4Kids sort of did me dirty. And after reading over 100 chapters of the series as of this video, I can pretty safely say that yes, 4Kids did do me dirty. And I was genuinely missing out on something that is quite special. So I thought that it would be good to do semi-regular update videos on this series, and so you can sort of tell where I'm at with it and maybe follow along with me. So as I mentioned, I just recently hit 100 chapters, which means I've been reading One Piece for over 100 days, which is kind of crazy because I don't think that much has happened this year yet, but already 100 days have passed since I decided to take on this task. And yeah, it is a very good series. From what we've been through so far in the series, various introduction arcs for several of the Straw Hats, some background given to a lot of them, some a lot less than others. For example, Zoro has not a lot going on. His flashback and his backstory was pretty minor, and there are only a few little hints of his sort of overall character arc, and Nami was quickly introduced and sort of hinted at to have more and things like that. But now that I've hit 100 chapters, I've completed all of Arlon Park, which is pretty much considered where the series starts hitting its stride, or where like the core One Piece experience starts taking shape. And I completely agree with that, because it's probably the longest arc so far, and has the most character development, the most backstory, the most sort of like emotionally charged moments in the series, like fights and background and things like that. It's definitely like the heaviest hitting arc so far, and has a lot of like very key moments, like when Luffy takes off his straw hat and gives it to Nami. It's an incredibly powerful moment. I watched it in the anime after reading it in the manga to see if it was still just as powerful in the anime, and yeah, it pretty much is. I think just 4Kids screwed me over. But yeah, so I finished all of Arlon Park, did Roguetown or Loguetown, not really sure the pronunciation, but that was a quick arc, and it was just sort of to hit the 100 chapters sort of milestone for that arc, because you could tell that when they hit 100 chapters, Oda wanted to have a sort of nice bookendy sort of vibe to it, and like it ends with them sort of entering the Grand Line and announcing the goals that they want for the future and what they want out of this journey. And I found that really nice, and it's a good way to sort of bookend the whole thing and enter the sort of next chunk of the series. And by chunk of the series, we've got another 900-ish chapters to go. So yeah, that'll be fun. Anyway, yes, I am very much enjoying One Piece as it goes. I didn't think I would get as attached to it this quickly as I actually have been. And yeah, it's really good. I do think it's interesting how many characters have development now and how many don't. Like, for example, we had Usopp's whole arc, and we sort of understand him as a character and don't really need that much more on him. He'll have like more current things, like we all know his past and things like that now. Zoro, you're sort of attached to him, even though there's like not much going on with him besides him being on death's door constantly. And Sanji did have some development, but he also feels incredibly underdeveloped. And I know that that does change over time, but it's just interesting how like underdeveloped he feels. And I know Luffy gets a lot more later and things like that, but as he stands now, he's perfectly fine. And Nami's pretty much done and dusted. At this point, we know everything that we need to know about her and how she's in this for the long haul now, which is really cool. And yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. I really like the action sequences. The art style has grown on me because I was a little bit iffy on it at first, but I know that's just the One Piece style. It's more cartoon based than it is anime based, if that makes sense. I know it's a manga, but like that's sort of how I reason it in my mind. Sort of like how Ranking of Kings in the last season was sort of more cartoon based in terms of aesthetics than it was traditional anime based, which for One Piece works amazingly in its favor because Luffy is very exaggerated, his moves are very cartoon-like and things like that, which works really, really well for him. And it has some really unique fights and stylizations because of that. I really like how pretty much all of his arm-based attacks are gun-based sort of names, and all of his leg-based attacks are sort of like physical weapons, like Gum Gum Spear, or it's like Gum Gum Pistol and things like that. I like that sort of style, and it's nice. Zoro hasn't had too many like key moments because he's either breaking his swords, lost his swords, or just doing like a insta-kill sort of attack. So I know that he will have stuff, but like he's definitely on his way to being developed. Sanji hasn't had too many moments. Usopp's just sort of like, he's a bit of a joke, but all of his attacks are like intentionally sort of comical. And I know Nami will have stuff, but at this point, not really anything crazy. We've had interesting fruit powers so far, but nothing that's heavily fleshed out. Like the most interesting ones we've had so far are Luffy's own one, Buggy's Chop Chop fruit, and Smoker's fruit. And there have been a few other ones, but like those were sort of like the standouts those were sort of the standouts in terms of like what these fruits are capable of and how sort of like world bendy they are. But yeah, glad that I have stuck with it so far. I haven't missed a day so far, but I have said before that if I miss a day, then the following day I'd read 2 chapters and things like that. But so far I haven't missed a day, so that's good. It is relatively easy to do because I make it part of my morning routine, and then I live tweet as soon as I finish reading that chapter. And I hope everyone who wants to follow the journey does follow me on Twitter just to see how it's all progressing. I did recently also put on the channel to celebrate the 100 chapters. Like I put it on the same day that I caught up to 100 chapters but didn't make it super well known. I did the 100 Landscapes Ichiban Kuji figurine review. I released that on the day that I hit 100 chapters. It just so happened to line up perfectly that I got those figures at just the right time. And that was a nice little celebration. I'm glad that One Piece has sort of had such a generational, not shift, but means so much to the generational impact, has such a generational impact for manga and anime. And I can definitely see that sort of happening as I'm reading it and catching up slowly. And so, yeah, I'm very glad that I'm along for the ride, and I hope to see you all along for the ride with me. And please let me know who your favorite Straw Hats are, what you like most about One Piece. Don't worry too much about spoiling me, because I do know quite a few things that happen, because it's just, it's hard to stay unspoiled these days, but try not to spoil it for others that might not know what's going on in One Piece. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you'll keep going on this journey along with me, and hopefully by the time we catch up, One Piece might actually be ending, which would be kind of cool, because like in 3 years a lot can happen. So yeah, it'd be really poetic to just line up perfectly. But who knows what'll happen. Anyway, until next time, see ya.